because how else am I going to do it, right?
It's a really good idea.
So this is interesting because I'm thinking, well, maybe we might do something like this for clients.
Yeah, podcasting is awesome. What is it that you do?
I'm a portfolio manager at CIBC Woodgundy.
Okay.
So we manage about close to 300 million
Oh my
assets.
gosh.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's awesome. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank
How
you.
You doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Glad to be with you.
Let's start with some brief introductions. Who are you? Where you're from? All that jazz.
Okay. I'm Gordon Mestern. I live in Manotick.
I'll pull that right up there for you.
I'm Gordon Mestern. I live in Manotick.
Okay.
I'm 58 years old and family of 2 girls. I love sports. CrossFit is totally new to me.
Cool.
As of March 2018.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And you started with this guy here?
I started with Pete, and Pete was introduced to me through his brother-in-law, Mark Crichton.
Cool.
Mark wanted a...
How'd you know Mark?
Mark is married to a very good friend of ours,
Okay, cool.
and known her since she was pretty small. Yeah.
You've known Mel since she was small?
Oh, I've known her since she's... I won't say how small.
Okay.
Baby. Real small.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
From Ottawa.
Yeah.
I grew up in Ottawa.
Where about?
Alta Vista.
Alta Vista. Oh, so like right here, eh?
Yeah.
Neighbors to NCR. Look at that. Full
Yeah,
circle.
never knew about the NCR either.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting. When did you guys open? 2012?
Well, yeah. We've only been open for about 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
That's one
Depending
reason.
on when you moved.
Yeah, I moved out to Manotick in 04.
Okay. Where'd you go to school?
Brookfield
Okay.
High school.
University, though.
University. I didn't go to university.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
There we go.
Cool. I just figured with the finance stuff. That
Well, I did go to university, but I flunked.
Oh, interesting.
But I did do my CFA in '93
Right.
and a few other industry standard courses.
Right.
So I'm. It's not the way you do it nowadays.
Yeah.
Don't
You-
worry. I was going to flunk too, and then I met Jen.
Yeah, then you met a medical doctor
Yeah.
to be, and she helped you out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, this is my 37th year doing what I'm doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. How old are you?
58.
58. Cool. What's your background like athletically? Did you play any sports as a kid or anything like that?
No, I didn't. But I was always. I was a runner.
Okay.
Started running back in the 80s when shoes had no inserts, and I got shin splints really bad, had to get inserts, and I ran 10K a day.
Wow.
Ran 5K to work and 5K back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to stop because I got bursitis in my hip, and they said, you do an operation or you stop running. So I stopped running.
Right.
Because
What's bursitis?
It's an inflammation in the hip,
Okay.
and it was just because of the way I'm structured.
Mhm.
Anyway, maybe it would be different today,
Right.
but that's what it is. And I've been windsurfing, sailing.
Windsurfing. That's cool.
But other than that, biking, walking, doing all the other stuff, but never did anything that was, I will call CrossFit organized,
Right.
right?
Right, right. Like
Exercise,
group fitness.
group fitness,
Yeah.
never did that. No.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Where do you windsurf?
Windsurfed in the Ottawa River.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just came from Halifax, and that was like super popular out there, like surfing, windsurfing.
Yeah.
That's
Britannia Bay out where
Yeah.
PT's parents live.
Yeah.
That's
You get some
big,
good wind out there.
Big windsurfing
Yeah.
spot, right?
I used to windsurf out of Shirley's Bay across to
That's
Aylmer.
close, right?
Do you
Okay.
still?
Across. I haven't for a number of years, but
Right.
one of my goals is that in April I will buy all new gear, April 2019,
Yeah.
after a winter of CrossFit.
Yeah. That's so cool. And get back on. That's top of the pyramid right there. Sport.
I've got a 16-year-old daughter who wants to do it, so
That's so
it's
cool.
good incentive.
That's unreal. That's
Yeah.
awesome. How did you get started with CrossFit? How did you find Pete? How did you start doing it? Why did you start doing it?
Mark Crichton, that I mentioned before, has always been a resource for sports. And I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in October 2015.
Okay.
And I had a prostatectomy,
Mhm.
and then I had a year of hormone therapy. And what happened was that in 2017, so February 2017, I promised my daughters I'd run the 10K on the, what's that, Tamarack race weekend?
Yeah.
Right? I
Right.
run the 10K. So I started to train for the 10K. We used to always do the 5K as a family. And I had an injury as a result of that run. So I went to Mark, and he's tried to help me with different things. And anyway, what happened was that my blood work results went the wrong way. And so I went to Mark and I said, look, I've got to, I knew he was with CrossFit. He had talked about Pete before. And I said, I got to do something different this time. And Pete came very highly recommended. And
this is so long after 2000. You got diagnosed in 2015.
Yeah.
And then
so
just fast forwarded to 2000.
Yeah, because I mentioned I had the surgery in October 15, and then I had a year of hormone therapy, which was all of 16, and then I got off the hormone therapy and trained too quickly in hindsight to run the 10K.
Right.
I lost all my muscle tone,
Okay.
and I really didn't do it right.
Right.
It happened. So then,
and after hormone therapy, were you in remission?
well, I didn't know.
You
I had a 30% chance of being cured, and I wasn't.
Okay.
So, because I was stage 3,
Right.
which meant it had gone into the lymph nodes.
Right.
So, what happened was that when the PSA started going up again, then the next step was 6.5 weeks of radiation and another 6 months of hormone therapy. And where I am right now in September 2018, I've got, in December, my blood work starts again. And we'll find out what this round has done. So, reason I talked to Mark was I wasn't going to go through what I went through in 2016. So I'll explain
After the first session of hormone therapy.
Yeah. So the first thing that happened is you're recovering from surgery. Remember, I was 55 at that time. Yeah. And I went into hormone therapy, not really understanding what it was. So to give you a perspective, when I went to see the surgeon, I said, well, what can I expect in hormone therapy? Never had done it before. He said to me, well, I had 5 people that I saw yesterday, and one guy was like yourself, fairly fit, young, exercised a lot, never had a problem, really. He said, not a problem. He said, I saw one person who had to quit, couldn't handle it, all the side effects from hormone therapy. And the other 3 said, we're just going to suffer through it. Yeah, it's not fun, but we'll suffer through it. So he said, I don't know where you're going to fit in. Well, where I ended up was with those 3.
Right.
I sort of suffered through it. So what did I do? I grew breasts. I put on weight. I had emotional swings, ups and downs. It was not a good scene. And of course, I lost muscle tone and whatever. So when that was over, then the blood work cycle started, and unfortunately it went the wrong way. So when they told me I had to go through radiation and hormone therapy again, I said to myself, I'm not doing this again. I'm going to do something totally different. So I looked at my life as a 52-week marathon. When you're in 6 months of hormone therapy, it's really, you go into it and you go out to it. So it's really not 6 months. It's really 8 to 10 months, maybe 12, depending on who you are. So I said it's a 52-week marathon. And every week is going to be a pace. And I know I'm going to hit walls. And that's what my life is going to be. So I paced my work. And I said, another thing I'm going to do too is I'm going to exercise through the whole thing. Last time I didn't, because it's going to counteract all the, some of the side effects of just not feeling great, putting on weight. Psychologically, you need to do something to make you feel good. So what do? So I did that. I changed my diet too. And I reduced stress. And I just made sure that every week was a pace.
Right.
And that's why CrossFit happened.
Right. Let's pick that apart a little bit. What was the changes in your diet that you put in?
Very low sugar.
Okay.
We eat mainly organic anyway.
What was your diet? Or I guess a better pre-question would be, what was your diet mainly beforehand? Were you really looking at it much?
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
My wife is really keen that we eat well, so we've always eaten well.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that it was eating better.
Yeah.
And trying to eliminate sugar as much as possible.
That was the big one.
That was the big one. And I think the other big factor was that you had to play a mental game that you felt good about yourself. You were doing something. So the whole idea of pacing is you're in this game to win, right? Or to finish.
Right.
And you're doing it because you feel that you can't do everything you used to do, but you're going to do as much as you possibly can that you finish this 52-week marathon. That's the game.
Mm-hmm. Everything within your control, right?
Yeah, everything in control.
Yeah.
So that was really where, so CrossFit basically was my way of delegating the responsibility of my fitness to a professional.
Right. To take one more stress off you, kind of thing.
I wasn't going to worry about it.
Yeah.
When I came to see Pete on Wednesdays, I didn't worry.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew my goal was to get in there.
Yeah.
My goal was to get in there on Mondays.
Get there. Yeah.
That was it. And so for the 6.5 weeks of radiation, I missed one session,
Nice.
which to me was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Just personally, it was huge.
It was huge to miss it or huge to be consistent?
Huge to be consistent. So that, and I was more fit after the radiation than going into the radiation.
Yeah.
Which again was a huge thing for me.
Right.
I just felt that was success.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's other things that didn't happen in my life
Mm-hmm.
because of it, but I still felt good about myself because
Right.
I'd done that, and that was a huge change from, going through hormone therapy the last time, because I was also doing radiation and hormone therapy together.
Mm.
That was the difference.
So when Mark told you about Pete and told you about CrossFit, did you have any reservations off the bat? Because a lot of people, even just your age, without the health concerns, are, CrossFit's not for me. CrossFit's for young people. CrossFit's too intense. Like, did you have any of those running through your mind? Did you have any preconceived notions of CrossFit when you heard about it for the first time?
I didn't have any preconceived notions because I knew nothing about it. So
That's
Mark,
almost a good thing.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing.
So Mark suggested I see Pete and explain the situation, which I did. So I sent Pete an email, and he said, "Come on in," and we basically had an interview, so he knew what he was dealing with.
Right.
And one thing that stayed with me was that this is not about competing with others in the gym. This is about you moving forward at your pace.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other thing that was important from what I heard from Mel and Mark was that you needed to do CrossFit with help that your moves were done technically correct.
Coaching. You needed coaching.
I needed coaching, that I wouldn't hurt myself.
Correct.
Which was another reason that I said, I'm not going to go to a class and just say, hi, I'm new.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to pay for a coach to get me
the one-on-one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And in your position, that's totally good. So did anyone else have anything to say when you told them you were going to try CrossFit? Anyone in the family or relatives that had seen the Netflix documentaries maybe?
No, everybody was really positive that I was doing it.
Okay.
I did get comments like, "Oh, wow, you're doing CrossFit?"
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's obviously out there a sense that it's pretty intense.
Yeah, for sure. That's something we're actively
first
trying
thing.
to break down, I think, now
Yes.
in the world of CrossFit is, the fact that when we first started, it was easier to develop a program for Navy SEALs and scale it for grandmas than vice versa. But now the big push is trying to show that the roots of what it is for everyone and anyone. So it's really cool that you kind of were able to go into it with that open mind. You know what I mean?
It was. I went home a number of times from the Monday class, saying, whatever my score was, if you want to call it a score,
Sure.
I was always at the bottom of the list, right? I was the oldest guy there.
Yeah.
But I got over it.
Yeah.
Because I realized, you know what? It doesn't matter.
No, absolutely.
Right? It's about me.
It's a way to measure yourself.
And the other thing too is I'll never forget this class we were doing. I think you were teaching it at that time, and we were doing what's on those box step-ups.
Yeah.
And I was the last person. Everybody was waiting for me to finish. And I got up there, and everybody cheered.
Yeah,
Thought,
yeah.
"Hey, that's good."
Yeah, it's cool,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
A little
That's
bit of
awesome.
camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Looking back, so because you were just saying you wanted to make sure that you had the one-on-one attention. But
Yes.
having done my group class
Yes.
in the basics classes and learning the foundational movements,
Yes.
do you think if you had given me that email, the same email beforehand, and we had met, you could have jumped in with under my coaching and still been successful? Because a lot of the, that's sort of the reason we have those classes, is to encourage people to come in, and we try to make them as good as a one-on-one session.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to answer it from my perspective only, which is that we used a word before called muscle memory.
Right.
And because I never did any kind of this fitness, a lot of this was all new to me.
Right.
And I felt much more comfortable you just picking apart what I was doing one-on-one to get it. Now, I'd have no problem because I've done it before,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
But I came in it with no clue
Yeah.
how to do anything.
It's nerve-wracking coming into a group setting when you know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Even just, looking around, everyone's kind of doing these moves.
Yes.
The coach tells you to do something, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing this right.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know? It's easier one-on-one.
Yeah. One thing I can say to encourage anybody about the basics is that I've now had maybe 3 or 4 different coaches for the basics classes, and each one has their own individual style. But I've been amazed how each one has been able to take the moves, pull them apart, and the way Pete showed it to me, the other people did it a little bit different. But it was, to me, just as well done. So I can say that from a coaching standpoint, I would say that there's a very high standard at the basics level for somebody coming in.
That's good.
Cool. That's awesome. What were your first couple of days of CrossFit like? Like you personally, were you like, holy moly, what have I gotten myself into? Or was it like,
I was sore.
yeah,
I was sore. I remember Pete saying to me, well, if you're sore the second day, that's a good sign. And I was sore a lot the second day.
what'd you guys do? What was your first class? Do you remember? What'd you do?
I don't remember.
Do you remember, Pete?
I don't remember.
I could pull it up.
Yeah, I don't. What I remember now is that I'm less sore. Well, what I know is I'm less sore now, and yeah, it's been a good journey.
Yeah.
It's been a good journey.
After you started it, after the first couple classes, did you ever have any like, oh, maybe this isn't for me, or any reservations with it, or were you like both
No.
feet in right away?
No, I believe that Pete understood what I needed to do, and he had a very good way of just pushing me, but not pushing me too far.
Right.
And then if I was really sore, what I realized was normal. It wasn't that I'm sick.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
normal.
No, we all get very sore. Yeah.
And it went away.
Right.
It changed, and frankly, I wasn't going to go back to doing things the way it was before.
No.
In 2016, right?
Yeah.
I had a mission.
Yeah. You were determined in it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What were like the day-to-day changes that you saw in your life as the CrossFit progression went on? Did you notice anything, or was it at the end of the 6 months that you were like, this was different?
It's a good. I would say that the biggest change I found was energy levels.
Okay.
One of the side effects of radiation, of course, is tiredness. I was told that radiation's like getting the flu every day and needing an extra 500 calories of energy to survive. What I noticed after CrossFit, I had more energy. My brain was clearer, and that was from really the first 2 sessions. Yes, my body was sore, but I had energy. And I felt better about myself. And that was from the very beginning, the first week.
That's awesome.
I felt better about myself, which is really what I was there for.
Did anyone on the outside come in and be like, wow, you seem like you have more, like, Dad, you've been up more today, you've been napping less? Like, did you get any of that from the family, or was it mainly like intrinsic for you for the first little while?
My family's been very supportive through all this. So sometimes I don't know if it's just to say, Gordon, go for it. You're doing the right thing, you know, or they're noticing it. But
you must notice compared to the first round of hormone therapy.
Yeah, I had. There's no question. I always compared to what I was in 16
Right.
to what it's been for me in 2018, and it's like night and day. So I mean, again, it's all relative, but it's night and day.
Yeah. What's your diet like today?
Very similar to what I did in March when I started this. I probably am. I'm drinking more coffee than I used to. I almost went off coffee for 6 months.
For any particular reason, or?
Well, it was just health again. I just thought one less thing, you know, just what it is.
One less thing to rely on, right?
Yes, and but as I've now, you know, I'm my pace, my weekly pace is upping it a bit now, right? Because September, I should have had a hormone shot and I haven't. So I'm anticipating my testosterone's coming back, and so my workload is a little bit higher,
right?
And I need more coffee to just give me more of a boost. So hopefully I can get off the coffee again in a month or two.
Right. Did you find that first workout?
Yeah, we got the first workout. You want to hear it?
Yeah, what was it?
We should retest this. It's a 5-minute AMRAP.
Okay.
Of 3 30-pound deadlifts and 7 dumbbell shoulder press with 12-pound dumbbells. You got 44 reps. We should definitely test that. So the 30-pound deadlift, you've got a trainer bar and a couple of 10s on each side.
Okay.
And then the 12-pound dumbbell shoulder press. I think you can handle that pretty easily now, you know?
Yeah.
So that's that. The second workout. You want to hear the second one? 9-minute AMRAP, 10 PVC front squats, 20 single unders.
Yeah. Now that I got to tell you, those squats have been one of the best things for me.
Yeah.
So you got to think, I'm having pelvic radiation. That whole area is undergoing, we'll call it trauma. And I would say that learning how to do a proper squat was huge for me.
Right.
For all the plumbing down there.
Yeah.
It was very helpful.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, probably a side.
That was one of those side benefits I had no clue about. Right. But that was huge.
That's right. And I don't think I wouldn't have known about that. I mean, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
It just loosened everything up there, and it's been and I enjoy doing them actually because I feel the benefit. I felt the benefit of it. Right. I still feel it because there's still side effects from the radiation, and it does help me to do squats.
Right.
Have you done any like added like mobility work or yoga or anything like that? Did they prescribe anything like that to you, or
no?
What? Actually, here's a good question. What did the doctor say about this? What did your doctor say?
So I talked to my surgeon about it and the radiologist, and they're coy on it, but they're not negative on it. They're actually positive on it, but they're not going to come out and say we prescribe it.
No, they're happy you're doing something.
Yes, and they say categorically that anybody that does exercise during hormone therapy or radiation will feel better for it.
Right.
They'll categorically say that.
Right.
But they're not going to tell you what to do.
Do they ever look at, because a lot of the time you see it, there was, I think Savon just posted something in a story today about anyone over the age of 55 with any ailment should never squat to load or pick up load or anything like that. It was just like a general prescription from some random university in the States. Is there ever anything like that? Like, you shouldn't be doing this. There's no part like...
No, I mean, the only thing that is logical is that if you have issues, you don't ride a bike a lot, right? Because the whole area is all upset by that. But other than that, nothing about squats. And actually, I would say squats was one of the best things I did.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I love your reaction even when I was just telling you about that post or your post because, you know, to us too, it's crazy. But a lot of people, they're like, yep, okay, that's true. You know what I mean? And like, and I'm sure you've probably talked to some people who are in similar positions to you, but I can imagine that only gets, you know, exacerbated when you're sick or whatever, because people are so nervous about doing something different. You know what I mean? and maybe a little bit outside the norm, because I'd say still we're probably a little bit outside the norm. But it's pretty cool that you were able to come into it with such like an open mind and, do you know what I mean? Like willing to try it.
Yeah. I find that the coming from not doing exercise, right? It was a big change to have the discipline. And I'm not disciplined enough to go downstairs and work out in the gym, right? I need to sometimes be pushed. So I feel if anybody's looking at this and says, you know, I'm doing it for, let's call it quote unquote medical reasons, right? If you're not a person that's disciplined, you need to go to a class. You need to have a coach. You need to get into that to get the benefit. It's a bit like, you know, New Year's resolutions. How long do they last?
That's exactly it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're 100% right.
That's one of the huge attractions of CrossFit. It's just the extra motivation, having your friends beside you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a bunch of people that walk into your local, you know, Good Life gym, but you're pretty much alone on there.
Yeah.
On the treadmill, on the machines with your headphones in.
Yeah.
It's nice to walk in and be able to talk to people. Okay, like let's hit this workout.
Right. Yeah.
When you look back and you see the difference between your first bout of hormone therapy and your second one, and the improvements that you saw, is it something you think doctors should be recommending to people? Would you have appreciated? You probably would have appreciated it the first time if the doctor was like, "Hey, like, there's evidence out there that you doing exercises, or, you know, maybe they know that squats are going to help your pelvis and your bowels."
Yeah.
Right? Like, would you have appreciated the advice?
That's a really complicated question.
It is complicated
Because I'm not an expert on what doctors deal with every day.
Just personally, though, like,
I
just speak from your own perspective.
My sense is that it'd be very difficult for a doctor to prescribe this, in the sense that I want you to do it.
For sure.
But I can see that, you know, they have, whenever you go for the cancer, they give you all kinds of books, right? You go to cancer assessment, there's all kinds of books depending on what or pamphlets. You go in a radiologist, there's books, pamphlets. The system is brilliant in giving that. But there is nothing about your options, what to do about your physical fitness.
Right.
Nothing.
Exercise,
So
diet, like that.
at first thing, there should be something there that is in your face. Say, you know what? Don't do all this medical and do no physical fitness. Do physical fitness and this. But there's nothing about that.
Do you think they assume that everyone's already doing it or knowing about it?
I have a feeling they don't want to deal with it. And the medical system has a lot to do with studies, right? They're not going to go out on a limb unless it's in a study, right? So my sense is if there were more studies showing...
It has to be very specific, right?
Yeah.
It has to be like cancer patients doing exercise, seeing improvements in XYZ.
Right.
And so now we're going to recommend this.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Talked about exercise, all the doctor would say is, I've got patients where the exercise made a difference. There's some studies that show that exercise has made a difference. And ultimately, that's all you can go with. Right?
I feel like it's such a mystical topic.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's just this thing that I feel like doctors know that it's beneficial. And you know, there's all kinds of evidence out there, but it's just this mystical thing that they have to tiptoe around because of.
And it's one of the most...
They're constrained by their regulators.
Well, that's it. It's one of the most fascinating things that I find to talk to doctors about, especially like Jen, like family medicine and stuff. Like I knew a bunch out in Halifax, and like they all have different answers, but whether it be like, that's just not what we do. I'm not senior enough. I'm worried about what my seniors would say. I can't offer it with confidence. Like there's a whole host, but I think a lot of them, especially obviously the ones in our world, are aware that we possess this like potentially life-changing solution to help people. But I mean, it's just how we get in. But I mean, you're probably getting familiar with how that's being implemented on staff, and also with Jen being part of the CrossFit Docs thing.
A little bit. I mean, it's like what you said, Gordon. You can't really prescribe it without the direct evidence. But I'm thinking, your doctor tells you.
I will tell my doctor what it's done for me, and hopefully he'll repeat that to another patient.
That's exactly it.
And as a result, maybe somebody else can feel better about themselves and what they're going through at the time.
Well, even just things like this, you know what I mean? Like,
pass the message.
the
on.
aggressive title I'm going to give this this podcast to make people watch it is hopefully going to have a couple people see what we can do, like it's like that gym. Did you see that? It was the gym, the We Cure Type 2 Diabetes thing.
Yep.
It was a gym in
Octane
CrossFit, and they literally put a sign outside their gym that says "We Cure Type 2 Diabetes."
Yeah.
Like that was it.
Regan Dooley.
And it's like
owner.
it's crass, but it works because it creates like, what, that can't be right, but people look, you know what I mean, and they see, and then they might hear the stories, and there's so much out there now media wise for CrossFit, which is amazing. Specifically to diabetes, that's really where a lot of the focus is. But things like this, stories like this, could really, really help someone else who is in your position, maybe during that first bout of hormone and doesn't know where to turn. So,
yeah, I would say that this is not about a cure for cancer. This is not about trying to be, get into CrossFit games. This is not about trying to be able to lift a lot of weight or do anything. This is all about feeling better about yourself while you're going through something that is so abnormal to life, or what we call normal life, or normal expectancy of what life would be, and finding that you want to keep doing it even after it because it's done good things for you.
Absolutely.
Even like, I want you to speak a little bit to the mental change that you saw. Like you said, you came home after the first and second session and you just felt better mentally.
Yeah, I felt like I was doing something for me. One of the things about radiation is that you're basically killing things. Like you're killing part of yourself, hopefully, so you can regenerate new cells that are healthy and all the rest. But this was about how I feel as I'm going through it. And maybe it's also, you're a certain age and your body starts not getting better. And then you have this medical situation which doesn't make you feel better. So what are you going to do about feeling better? And if I can say after 6.5 weeks I was more fit finishing the radiation than when I started it, man, I'm feeling good about that.
It's pretty cool that you're fit, that you're fitter after radiation.
Yeah, I could do more. Well, you could look at what,
it's
what
quantifiable,
we did, right? I felt better, even though I felt weaker in other ways, right? So, and then radiation ended in May, and I finished before I went away for the summer. I did with the girls in the basement in June. We did Barbara together, and
what's Barbara?
Well,
I know what it is.
You
I just want you to tell everyone.
Well, I might not say it right, but it's basically, what is it? Pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, and squats.
It's on the minute.
Yeah, so we played with it a bit. We basically just timed ourselves, and we didn't do the 20, 25, and so on. We started at 10 and worked up from there to 25 squats. And the girls couldn't do as well as I did. So this is a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old. They could not do it as well as I could.
Cool.
There you go.
Yeah. So
wow, that's
I didn't feel too bad about that.
No, that's pretty cool. That's
amazing.
Yeah. They did better in some things, but they didn't have some of the upper body that they thought they'd have. And the squats, I had to teach them how to do a proper squat. I felt pretty good. I could do that.
You're learning things too at CrossFit, right? You're learning to become a coach, coming to get coached, and then you're just passing that.
And actually,
down.
my daughter would like to come, but she can't. I said, "You can't come. She's 16. She can't come."
That's what my next question was going to be. Is your family getting a little bit interested in maybe coming in and trying it on their own?
My 16-year-old would love to come in, but her schedule is very busy, and it's hard to fit into the
like
teenage
all 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Schedules should be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But she works out on her own. She's disciplined, so she works out on her own anyway.
There you go.
But she'd love to do CrossFit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, teens class.
Yeah.
Maybe when her
Yeah.
schedule frees up a little bit.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
That's awesome. What's going forward look like for you as far as like CrossFit and everything? What are your plans? Are you mainly in group classes now, or are you still?
No,
peaking
I
with
still
Pete, or-
have my lessons with Pete to finish. Then I'll go to 2 group classes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to work up to 3,
Mhm.
but I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. Just energy levels are
Mhm.
not there, and I want to keep my pace.
Yeah.
I want to keep my pace.
How long do the effects of radiation linger after it finishes?
So they said 4 to 6 weeks after radiation.
Okay.
And I thought I could get away with 2 weeks, and I was wrong. I had to wait. But then the side effects from the radiation with your plumbing is still sort of ongoing.
Right.
Better now, but it's at least in my case.
Mhm.
It's more the hormone therapy that is still, I'm waiting, that I should have testosterone starting to build again in October.
Right.
And then my energy level should start going up again.
Okay. Okay.
So
That's
I'm
not too far
hopeful.
away.
Hopeful. So I'd like to get up to 3 times a week.
And all group classes, because we'll be
Yes. Yeah.
done by
Because-
then.
yeah,
and
yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
He'll be a full-fledged NCR member.
Yeah.
CrossFitting 3 times a
Yeah.
week.
Beauty.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to. Did I say anything about my goals at
No,
the
talk to
beginning?
those.
No,
A little
do
bit.
you have like?
I maybe I mentioned-
Are you starting to make specific goals for
Oh,
yourself?
well, I have
now?
a specific goal. So first thing is that April, I'm buying all new windsurfing gear, and I will take up windsurfing again full time. I'd looked at doing the kite surfing, but
Mhm.
you sometimes need 2 people, and I can't often get 2 people to come
Right.
out. So I'll do that. And the other thing I want to start this winter is skiing again.
Yeah.
I did a lot of downhill skiing, cross-country skiing, and the last 2 years have not been that great for that.
Yeah.
So I want to start doing that again, and CrossFit's going to help me with that too.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
So those are the near-term goals.
There you go. The short-term goals. Have you set now that you've got the movements under your belt and you're starting to get consistent? Have you looked at some people doing back squats and you're like, yeah, I think I'd like to do that heavy.
I'm
of a
not
back
there
squat.
yet again. I'm
No.
still on my weekly pace.
Right.
I'm still delegating to you.
Yeah.
And once I have
Once
to
I'm done delegating,
Yeah, that's right.
then you're on your
Then
own.
I have
Yeah.
to start thinking. I'm
That's exactly
I'm
it.
paid to delegate to you, so
Yeah.
you got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would say to someone in your position, maybe right before you met Pete, and to kind of maybe encourage them if they're on the fence or maybe they haven't heard about this CrossFit thing, to maybe get them going, or what you think would help?
I think you should do a class or 2 or 3 before you make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is, if you're in my situation and you're dealing with health issues, don't compete with other people in the class.
Mhm.
Compete with yourself
Mhm.
and how you feel. And one thing I always liked about CrossFit is I do not need to have a gym to do the exercise,
Mhm.
right? I don't need to have lots of equipment. It can be a combination of things that you use your own body and doing skipping or whatever else, right?
So it's super convenient.
Yes. Yeah. And I also like that now that I know more about it, I like that I can get on the internet and see all the different stuff, all the different moves, and I can work at something on my own too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just open mind.
Yeah.
I came in with an open mind, and it's been good for me.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Cool. Well, thanks for sitting with us today.
Well,
Appreciate it.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to share.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Thanks, Gord.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.
Thanks.